Why is Balake Rivals so popular? I'm sure it's a question many people have asked before, and today I'm here to finally discover what makes this game so fun to hundreds of thousands of people all across Roblox. And before you say, oh, it's just because children like it, the answer is actually a lot more complex than you think. So in this video, I'll break down a couple different reasons why I believe this game got to the point where it is today to maybe help my fellow people who don't play BLR to actually understand what makes this game work. Now, without waiting any longer, let's get into it. Now, the first reason why this game took over the Balake genre is because it has a complete monopoly over the mobile market in it. If you take its main rival, Azure Latch, the mobile gameplay is really overwhelming to the average person. I mean, you got like 8 different buttons to press that cover almost half my screen, and I don't know what any of them mean. Not to mention, Azure Latch takes a bit more power to actually run properly, so as I'm deciphering what the buttons mean, my phone battery is actively bursting into flames. With Balake Rivals though, we got almost half the buttons, well labeled and designed in small but accessible areas. BLR not only has a better designed mobile UI, but it also fundamentally works better for mobile with the reduced keybinds and pretty simple techniques that don't require as much skill as a quadra header into an M1 feint direct shot into a spinning emote does, you know? So for the average casual mobile player, or child, the game has a very approachable design, and that comfort is what keeps people coming back. If you control the mobile market, you'll never get surpassed in player count, because according to Roblox themselves, 80% of the Roblox player base is on mobile, which is just insane. I had no idea it was that much. And if you could see what percentage of players played Balake Rivals on mobile, I'm sure those numbers would be reflected pretty accurately in the total player base. Now, I think this is a defeat Azure Latch and the rest of the Balake games just kind of have to accept, because to compete with this, you'd probably have to dumb your game down a little bit with reduced keybinds and easier general gameplay. My next reason on why BLR is so popular was hinted at in the last section, but it's because it's an extremely casual game. Whenever I ask why people prefer BLR over a game like Azure Latch, 90% of the time it's because Azure Latch is just really daunting to get into for a new player. I mean, people doing 6 different mobility moves to move up the field, bicycle kicks, and chemical reactions. If I was a new player with 0 goals, I would not want to play a game with that insane of a difficulty spike. That's like a 5-year-old just starting soccer being put into the Japan U20 versus Balake match. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? In contrast, when I played BLR after getting good at Azure Latch, it's brain dead easy. And I'd imagine for a person who's never played these games before, they'd probably be just good enough to get a steal or a couple goals, and now they'd have the joy of actually having some power in the game. Now, Azure Latch is probably the only game that could actually mediate this problem, because it actually has the player base to enable skill-based matchmaking and not make insanely scuffed lobbies. However, once you even approach the possibility of skill-based matchmaking, then you need lobby queues, and it discourages playing with friends, and it just overall kind of ruins the casual side of the game. Maybe they could do what BLR already does though, and just add pro servers for people above like 1,000 goals or something. But my point is, the difficulty spike that games like Azure Latch or Locked have make it really intimidating to get into for the average player. This results in a lot of people just sticking with the easier option, which is once again Balake Rivals. Balake Rivals may have the worst animations, pretty lackluster gameplay, and terrible balancing, but it knows how to satisfy its niche to rake in as many players as humanly possible. Next, I'd be doing everyone a disservice if I didn't talk about the gacha system and cosmetics. Let's start with the style balancing. A lot of people complain about the world-class styles being overpowered and leaving every single style in the dust. And what if I told you that's kind of the point? I mean, imagine if Nelrin was terrible on launch. The game likely wouldn't have spiked to almost 1 million concurrent players because they wouldn't even have tried to roll for the style and get him. And once they had him, they'd be like, okay, this guy's alright I guess, and leave. The feeling of crushing everyone with new or rare styles encourages people to keep rolling and using in-game codes, which further encourages more playtime and more money spent. And bad styles are just playable enough that, combined with the easy gameplay loop, you keep playing to try and farm for something better, or just have fun with a worse style. And as for the cosmetics, I mentioned in my Project Egoist video, they pull absolutely 0 punches with the emotes. With the basic ones, they just have a lot of them so they never get boring. But the mythical paid ones will play so many effects it looks like there's a strobe light on your screen, and Fong will aggressively destroy your eardrums so that combined with some random snippet of a rap song as a goal sound, there's just a complete sensory overload on your screen whenever you score a goal. I guess a lot of people enjoy this. I mean, it kinda looks cool, I'll admit, but still. These silly cosmetics, emotes, and goal sounds keep people wanting to play the game to score more goals, overall keeping the player count even more stable. And my last point on why this game is so popular is because combined with the emotes, styles, goal effects, and goal sounds, the actual gameplay is also designed to be extra stimulating to keep the audience constantly glued to the screen. The gameplay is worse and more casual, I'll admit, but if you notice, they subtly designed it so it's as stimulating as possible. In Azure Latch Unlocked, sometimes you have to wait, either for a pass or to defend a ball or to play GK. But in BLR, you're always doing something. You're almost always on the ball trying to steal it, or you're shooting it, or using some kind of defensive move. The small field and ability to score from halfway across it makes gameplay atrocious balancing wise, but it could have been made like this on purpose to give more people the opportunity to score. This keeps people engaged in the game and continuing to play it for long periods of time. That's the formula of BLR, and it works really well. To recap, I'm not saying this game is well designed or the best Balake game in the genre, but it's designed carefully to maximize player engagement for people who don't know better. At least for me, scoring with flow or off of a cool pass play in a drill match will give me more dopamine than anything in BLR ever could. But for people who either don't want to get good enough to get to that point, or don't want to wait for the perfect moment to strike, BLR is a much more straightforward Balake game that has a very simple and effective gameplay loop, and a lot of people enjoy it. And you're not in the wrong if you enjoy Balake Rivals either. Just know that it has a large player count for a reason, and it's not the awakening animations, or the shots, or the gameplay. It's how everything kind of weaves itself together to be constantly stimulating that keeps people coming back. However, maybe this is glaze. Maybe Crollo and Miro didn't really intend for any of the things I just listed to result in its insane player count, but regardless, it does do these things, and they do work. And that is why Balake Rivals is so popular. What do you think about BLR though? Do you enjoy the game? And if so, why? And what do you think is the main reason why this game is so popular? Tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you subscribed, but I hope you enjoyed or learned something from this video so that whenever your friends ask why this janky game is so popular, you can be the one to say why. But with that, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.